Hi guys, Mike Lambo here, and today I'm going to do a quick flick through of Battles of the English Civil War. This is available on Amazon along with my other games, and this game fits in best, I think, into this sort of mini series of battles books that I've done. So I would include in that now Battles of Medieval Britain, Battles of Normandy, and now we've got Battles of the English Civil War. So if you've played either of these two before, then you'll have kind of a feel for how this one might play out. It's a sort of, I guess in some ways I've tried to draw on the best bits of these two, but obviously it has its own sort of quirks and style as well. So let's get straight into it. So that's the cover, and then inside we've got the title page and list of books as usual. You've got a reminder there, you can see all my games played through on the YouTube channel here, including this one, which I've already done. It's quite a lengthy video, I'm afraid, but it's very full and complete. So you've got a contents page with the battles listed at the end there. We'll have a look at those as we go through. So then, as ever, we've got fairly quick, easy to read rules, plenty of illustrations, diagrams and things, colour to keep it all interesting. But you've got, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You've got 6 pages of sort of rules in themselves, and then you've got a couple more illustrated pages for sort of how some of the terrain and bonuses work and so on, with examples in these boxes here. So they're fairly quick reading, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You've got 7 pages there on how to operate the AI, but please don't let that put you off. It's actually really simple, but it just takes a lot of words to explain it. But once you've read that, you'll think, yeah, that's dead easy. And I've tried to be really clear in here, so there's a bit of repetition, bit of consolidation in what I'm saying to just get those key principles across. And again, actually the last 3 pages of those 7 are just examples to give you a clear idea, examples of how to move the AI, how they attack, how they support each other and so on in certain situations. But it is really straightforward. I mean, the basic AI table is this, which is printed next to each map as ever. And more or less everything you need to operate the AI is in there once you've got the general idea down. So this has got everything that they can do, plus reminders of these the key bits of these instructions here. So at the end of the day, if you make a little mistake here or there with what the AI does, it's not going to be crucial to the outcome of the game. But it is really quite straightforward. And again, if you've played in particular Battles of Normandy, it's sort of along the lines of how the AI operated in that one. So it does move. That's the point I should have probably made. And in Battles of Medieval Britain, for those that have played that one, you'll remember that the AI in that doesn't move, and therefore it's very easy to operate. All it did was attack each turn. This one does move and attack, but it's really quite straightforward. But it will give you a challenge, of course. None of my games are easy. So that's it. So say, I don't know, what did I say, 6 or 7 pages of rules, and about the same again, just how the AI operates, but again with plenty of examples included in that. Summaries here of how to set up, instructions there to adjust the difficulty as ever if you do find it too hard or too easy at any point, and a summary of the order of play there, which is really straightforward, and that includes setup. So the actual order of play is simply, move the turn tracker on, activate all your units, activate all the enemy units, check for, whether the AI has won yet, because you do that, by moving the turn tracker on. If it gets to the end and you haven't won, then obviously they win, and then you're back to activating your own units. So really straightforward, typical kind of they go, I go kind of thing. And then we move on to the battles themselves. So again, still working on my graphic design. Hopefully, again, you agree that managed to improve that. I've got some nice trees now with shadows, which gives them a real kind of 3D effect. I don't know how well you can see that on the camera, but it does give for a more pleasant experience. I think when I started out, with Fields of Normandy, which I have, by the way, updated the graphics on now. If I can find the most up-to-date version I have here. But anyway, since I did those early books, I have certainly been working on those skills, and also come to appreciate that people do like a bit of eye candy. Originally I was focusing far more on making my games playable, so that was my early attempts at graphic design, which is perfectly functional, works perfectly well. But the latest version of Fields of Normandy looks more like that, which you can see is a much improved, I think. So I'm working on them. I've updated quite a few retrospectively, but this one is, I think, probably the best so far in terms of just general design and so on. Kept this pretty much the same on this page, and I think this works well. It's clear, very easy to see at a glance. Different colours for different tables just means they stand out nice and easily. Turn tracker on the bottom. So we've got the Battle of Edge Hill there, you've got the Battle of Braddock Down, Battle of Hopton Heath in there. Slightly different win condition on that one, you have to eliminate the Earl, or the leader of the opposition army for that one. For most of these, it's a case of clearing the enemy units from the board or demoralising them, because morale plays a big part in this game. We've got the Battle of Seacroft Moor, we've got Sowerton Down in there, Stratton, and Lansdowne. And the changing position of the trees, and particularly the higher ground, does sort of impact the battle quite significantly. Also, of course, the units that are available to both the player and the AI changes. So in particular, sometimes you'll have cannons, sometimes you won't. Same for the AI, and similarly cavalry. Sometimes they'll be there, sometimes they won't. Generally, muskets and pikemen appear in virtually all the battles, I think, for both sides. But again, to a differing degree. So it does change up your tactics and what you need to do for each particular map. We've got the first Battle of Newbury in there. That's one, I think, where you have to get a unit off the top of the map, which is more difficult than it sounds. To succeed in that one, because basically you're the parliamentarians, and the parliamentarians here were just sort of trying to pass through effectively to somewhere else and got involved in this battle. So the idea is you just need to move your unit off the top of the map to reflect the historical position. We've got the Battle of Sheraton there, Sheraton Wood depicted across the middle there. We've got Cropredy Bridge there, so first one with a river, which again changes things up a little. We've got Marston Moor, of course, on there, sort of classic, well-known battle from the English Civil War. We've got the second Battle of Newbury as well, the Battle of Naseby, again, another well-known one. Battle of Langport, again, another one with a river there, got a ford this time to get across there, but only one crossing point on this one, so a bit of a choke point, which again brings different tactics and approaches into the game. And then finally we've got the Battle of Stow on the Wold there to finish off with. So 15 full battles here, there's no sort of training mission or anything, you're straight into these. It's fair to say the second half of the battle is probably slightly trickier than the first half, but they'll all present you with a decent challenge. This is a game that comes with counters. Try to do that in all my books now, where applicable, certainly. So you've got counters here, they come out nice and easily like that. So you just cut this page out, or you can download a copy from Board Game Geek, or just obviously stick it on a photocopier if you've got one at home. And if you get that then onto some card, so either print it out onto a fairly thin card, or stick it to a cereal packet or carton, or a cardboard box, anything like that, and just cut them out. Literally takes 20 minutes to do that. And I think, comparing the cost of these books to games which come with pre-cut counters and so on, there's a big difference in price. So for a bit of work on your part, 20 minutes or so, you've got what's starting to look like a full hex and counter war game, 15 different battles to play, all replayable. And the counters just add something. You don't need to use counters. People are very innovative as ever. These games, they take photos and do them on tablets and things, or put an acetate over the top and use pens. That's perfectly fine. Even pencil and eraser on the actual maps themselves. Although I'm sure most people photocopy before they do that. I'll probably advise that. because I think a lot of erasing on these maps themselves will probably start to wear the ink off after a certain time, so probably have to be a bit careful with that. That's Battles of English Civil War. So it does play, as I say, similar to the other battles books, medieval and Normandy, but does have its own style. You know, for anyone who's played more than one of my games, you'll know by now that they're not just repeats of each other, they're all different. And again, this one tries to reflect the style of battle of this period and will present you with a good challenge. As I say, available on Amazon sites worldwide. Make sure you buy it on your own Amazon site if you have one in your country, because that way you'll get the best delivery rates. Thanks very much, guys. Cheers.